Hello! In this tutorial I'll explain to you how to work with diagrams. So in our framework we have multiple different diagrams, but most of them they work in the same way. So I'll teach you how to work with diagrams. So let's log in our framework choosing the advanced workspace, and from here the first diagram that I want to show you is the database diagram. So in this diagram here currently is already populated with 3 tables. So if we mouse over these tables, we have here an icon plus, which basically to add an attribute, where then that attribute we can move it up or down, or we can delete it and make a corresponding selections here. Or we can click here and move this layer. Same action can be achievable if we click in the top bar of the table. And then we have some other menus that if we click in this 3 dots icon we can see the menus that it's the same action is achievable by right clicking in the table. It's exactly the same thing. Each table has some properties that we can access if we click it in the table, or if we right click and then click properties, or through here. It's exactly the same action. The properties can appear here or can appear below here or can appear in here. I can maximize the properties or just show it with regular size. Then in my templates I have always some menu here that I have some options that are very useful too. The properties I can always hide it and show it, as you can see. So this is the diagram of the database. Then let me show you the layers diagram. It's another diagram that we have. Basically in this diagram here I have something different than I have in the database diagram, where basically I have some widgets here or some tasks that I can just drag and drop to the specific places. So in this case, if I drop in the wrong place, it will tell me that I cannot drop this task into this position, it needs to be in this position. So if I right click again, I see the menu where I can delete the task. If I mouse over, I have the icon to move it. That can be, in this case, to move it, it needs to be through here. If I want to relate this task with other task, I just need to click it in the middle of the task and just drag and drop then the connection to some other task. If I want to see the menu, I do right click, or I simply click it the 3 dot icon to see the corresponding properties. In this layers diagram, in this case the presentation, it is the default layer. So which means that every request that gets from the web will get into this layer here. If I click the properties, it will show me the corresponding properties. Each task has different properties. The presentation doesn't have any properties. This one has a different properties than the other one, and if you scroll down, the database driver has a complete different properties. In here we just have one view. We cannot move these properties to the side or to the bottom. It's just as a pop-up format. Then we have some other options here that we can zoom in, zoom out, and do a bunch of other actions. Third, let me show you another example of another diagram, which is the folders UI diagram. In here, that's where we can drag and drop the same thing, some widgets in here, and automatically when we click it, we'll see the properties of that specific task or widgets. So each widget has their own properties. The same thing here, I can expand these properties, or I can maximize it or minimize it. And then I can move the task or through here, or I can see the menu through here or with right click. If I want to relate this specific page to another page, I have these circles here where you can see the cursor of my mouse, it changes, so I just click it and I drag and drop to the specific page that I want to relate with. Then I can save, and again I have some options, some menus in here too. I have another diagram that I want to show you, which is the logic diagram, that I can just show you a default one like this one. Where basic in here we have a diagram where we have some tasks in here that we can just drag and drop to our design area, and then if we click in the specific task, it automatically to show here the properties, these properties that I can show it like this or in here, or I can hide it. If I click in the three dots icon, I see the corresponding menu. In this case this is a start task, this one is not, so start task means that the workflow starts with this task, which is in gray, as you can see. To move it, I can just drag it here and move it. To make a link to another task, it's just in the icon, I just click in the icon and drag it to the corresponding task. Then the connections, they have some properties too, so I just right click in the specific connection, then I can see the menu that I have, where in this case I can set a label, but basically this is just an example where all diagrams that I have, usually I have some widgets that I can, or some tasks that I can drag and drop here. The tasks, in some cases they can be grouped, and if the tasks are inside of some groups, I can expand or collapse that group. Then when I drag and drop into the middle of my area, I can move and draw my own logic or my own diagram. Each task in the diagram, if I right click, I can see the corresponding menu. If I have a three dots icon, it's to see that menu too. If I click it, usually I see the properties of the clicked task. Sometimes I have other icons, not the three dot icons, I have other icons that can be useful, like to move and other things. And to link that task with another task, usually I have a circle or an icon where the cursor changes, as you can see, as a target cursor. As you can see, every time that I hover the icon, it changes to this cursor, so every time that you see this cursor, it means that you can just drag and drop that connection with another task. And that's it, so thank you very much.